A few years ago, I found myself stuck in a rut. I was chasing my goals, but no matter how hard I tried, I kept slamming into the same roadblocks. It was exhausting. The same problems kept showing up, and the same disappointing results stared me in the face. I felt like I was running on a treadmill, putting in tons of effort but getting nowhere fast. I was fed up. This year, I decided enough was enough. I wanted to tackle new challenges. But to do that, I had to let go of the old baggage weighing me down. One of my biggest enemies? Procrastination. And let's be honest, laziness was right there, egging it on. As Albert Einstein once said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. That quote hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized I couldn't keep doing the same things and expect different results. Procrastination was my comfort zone. That sneaky habit of saying, I'll do it tomorrow, while tomorrow never came. I'd waste hours scrolling through social media, telling myself I was unwinding. But deep down, I knew I was just avoiding the work that would get me closer to my dreams. It was time to change my mindset and break free from that cycle. Why do you keep hitting the snooze button on your goals? Wake up and make it happen. After some serious soul searching and a few tough life lessons, I started to see the problem clearly. Procrastination wasn't just about being lazy. It was about fear. Fear of failing, fear of not being good enough, fear of stepping out of my cozy bubble. I was tired of letting that fear control me. So I made a bold move. I cut the cord on distractions. I logged out of social media, turned off notifications, and started taking action. It felt amazing to finally do something, to take that first step. But I quickly learned a hard truth. Starting is easy. The real challenge is sticking with it. I've always admired people who go all in on their goals, people who don't just dream but do. Take Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. He didn't become one of the greatest athletes in the world by luck. In a video I watched, he said, "Talent is not enough. You need discipline and consistency to succeed." Ronaldo talked about showing up every day, even when you're exhausted or unmotivated. That discipline builds mental toughness, and that toughness carries you through the hard times. His words lit a fire in me. I wanted to be that consistent, to take steady steps toward my goals every single day. But there was a problem, a big one. My laziness was like a shadow I couldn't shake. It wasn't just about procrastinating, it was about not putting in enough effort. Laziness, to me, meant settling for good enough instead of pushing for great. There was this constant tug of war in my head. One part of me wanted to achieve big things, write a book, start a business, get in shape. The other part just wanted to take the easy way out, to chill and avoid the hard work. I'd set a goal, make a plan, take a few steps, and then nothing. I'd lose steam, get distracted, or just give up. No results, no progress. It was infuriating. I couldn't figure out why I kept falling short. I had these huge dreams, but I was stuck in neutral, spinning my wheels. What was holding me back? Then one day, I stumbled across a psychology concept called expectancy value theory. It was a game changer. This theory says your motivation to do something depends on two things: how much you want the reward and how confident you are that you can actually achieve it. Let me break it down. Imagine someone offers you $10 to run a mile. You might shrug and say, not worth it. But if they offer $1,000, you're probably lacing up your sneakers. That part's obvious. The bigger the reward, the more motivated you are. But here's the second part. If you don't believe you can run that mile, you won't even try, no matter how big the reward is. If you're convinced you'll collapse halfway through, even $10,000 won't get you off the couch. That was my problem. Deep down, I didn't believe I could succeed. Why didn't I believe in myself? Because I'd failed so many times before. My track record was a long list of abandoned projects, half-finished plans, and unmet goals. Over the past 5 years, I'd barely made any progress. I'd try something new, a fitness routine, a side hustle, a creative project, and stick with it for a week or two before quitting. My expectation of success was rock bottom, and so was my motivation. It was a vicious cycle. I'd fail, lose confidence, and then feel even less motivated to try again. I was trapped, and I didn't know how to break free. But then, something clicked. I realized I was looking at failure all wrong. Failure wasn't the enemy, it was part of the process. Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb, failed thousands of times before he got it right. When his team got frustrated, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset blew my mind. What if my failures weren't proof that I couldn't succeed? What if they were just stepping stones, showing me what not to do? That thought hit me hard. What if I wasn't failing? What if I was just quitting too soon? I started to see my mistakes in a new light. Instead of letting them crush my confidence, I decided to learn from them. I thought about J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. She once said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." Her words reminded me that failure is a sign you're trying. It's a sign you're alive. You don't get to success without stumbling along the way. That realization gave me the courage to keep going even when things didn't go as planned. Let me share a story from my own journey. A while back, I decided to start a YouTube channel. I had this vision of creating videos that would inspire people, share my experiences, and maybe even build a community. I spent 4 months working on my first video, writing the script, filming, editing, the works. I poured my heart into it. When I finally hit publish, I was nervous but excited. A month later, 3 views. 3. Old me would have been crushed. I would have thought, this is pointless, I'm no good at this. But this time I saw it differently. Those 3 views were part of the process. They were proof I was starting, proof I was learning. That shift in perspective changed everything. I started to see every failure as a lesson, a chance to get better. Instead of giving up when things didn't work out, I developed a habit of analyzing what went wrong. After a bad result, I'd ask myself, why didn't this work? What can I do differently next time? I'd look for small signs of progress, even if the outcome wasn't perfect. Was I getting better? Was I moving forward even a little? That's what mattered. With my YouTube channel, I kept experimenting, learning, and improving. After that first video flopped, I made another one, then another, and each time I tweaked something. Maybe the thumbnail, the title, or the way I edited. Slowly, I started to see improvement. A video got 10 views, then 50, then 100. It wasn't viral success, but it was progress, and progress, no matter how small, fuels motivation. This approach applies to any goal. Let's say you want to get in shape. You start going to the gym, but after a week, you miss a day, then another, and soon you're back to your old habits. Sound familiar? Instead of beating yourself up, analyze what happened. Maybe you scheduled workouts at a time when you're too tired. Maybe you set unrealistic goals, like hitting the gym 7 days a week. Figure out what went wrong, adjust your plan, and try again. As Nelson Mandela said, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that laziness isn't always about a lack of discipline. Sometimes it's about fear. Fear of failing, fear of looking stupid, fear of wasting time on something that might not work. That fear can disguise itself as laziness, making you think you're just not motivated, when really, you're scared to try. But here's the truth. The only guaranteed way to fail is to not try at all. If you let fear stop you, you're choosing the path where failure is 100% certain. Don't let that happen. You're stronger than that. The expectancy value theory gave me a roadmap for beating that fear. To stay motivated, you need 2 things: a reward that excites you, and confidence that you can achieve it. The reward part is easy to fix. Make sure your goal matters to you. If you're trying to get fit, don't focus on losing weight. Focus on something that lights you up, like feeling strong, having more energy, or looking great in your favorite clothes. The more you care about the reward, the more motivated you'll be. The confidence part is trickier, especially if you failed before. But here's the good news. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. How? By starting small and celebrating every win, no matter how tiny. If you're trying to write a book, don't aim to write a whole chapter in one sitting. Start with 100 words a day. When you hit that goal, celebrate it. That small success builds confidence, and confidence fuels motivation. Over time, those small wins add up to big results. Another way to build confidence is to reframe failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, see it as feedback. Think about Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. He once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His failures didn't define him. They shaped him. They taught him what he needed to do to get better. That's the mindset we need to adopt. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Let's bring this back to my own story. After realizing that failure was part of the process, I started applying this mindset to every area of my life. With my YouTube channel, I kept experimenting, learning, and improving. With my fitness goals, I stopped aiming for perfection and focused on consistency. Even with my procrastination, I found ways to make tasks less daunting. For example, I started using the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. If it takes longer, just start for 2 minutes. That small action often led to getting the whole thing done. Another strategy that helped was breaking big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Let's say you want to start a business. The idea of starting a business can feel overwhelming. But if you break it down, research your market, create a simple website, reach out to one potential customer, it becomes less scary. Each step is a mini goal, and each mini goal you achieve builds your confidence. As Tony Robbins says, the path to success is to take massive, determined action. But you don't have to take massive action all at once, just take the next step. I also learned the power of accountability. When I was struggling to stay consistent, I started sharing my goals with a friend. Knowing someone was checking in on me made it harder to slack off. I'd tell my friend, "I'm going to post a new video this week," or "I'm hitting the gym 3 times this week." That external pressure kept me on track. You can also use tools like habit tracking apps or a simple calendar, where you mark off each day you stick to your plan. Seeing those check marks adds up to a sense of accomplishment. Let's not sugarcoat it. Staying consistent is hard. There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when you want to quit. That's normal. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is what they do in those moments. Do you give up, or do you keep going? As Oprah Winfrey said, "Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand." When things get tough, don't run from the challenge. Find a way to push through. One of the most powerful tools I found for staying consistent is visualization. Every morning I take a few minutes to picture myself achieving my goals. I imagine how it will feel to publish a successful video, to cross the finish line of a race, or to hold my finished book in my hands. That mental image keeps me focused. It reminds me why I'm doing the work, even when it's tough. Visualization isn't just wishful thinking, it's a way to train your brain to stay committed. Another game changer was learning to manage my energy, not just my time. I used to think productivity was about cramming as much as possible into my day, but I'd burn out, get overwhelmed, and end up procrastinating. Now I focus on working smarter, not harder. I schedule my most important tasks for when I have the most energy. Usually in the morning, I take breaks to recharge, even if it's just a quick walk or a 5-minute stretch. And I make sure to get enough sleep because a tired brain is a lazy brain. If you're struggling with procrastination or laziness, here's my advice. Start small, but start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Don't wait to feel motivated because motivation comes from action, not the other way around. Pick one goal, break it into tiny steps, and take the first one today. Maybe it's writing a single paragraph, doing 5 push-ups, or researching one idea for your business. Whatever it is, do it. As Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start. but you have to start to be great. And when you fail, because you will, don't let it stop you. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every mistake is a chance to learn, to grow, to get better. Look at every setback as a puzzle to solve, not a reason to quit. Ask yourself, what can I do differently? How can I improve? Keep tweaking, keep trying, keep moving forward. That's how you build confidence, and that's how you achieve your goals.